Welcome to Education Insight Weekly. I'm Lacey Kendall. Earlier this week, I had the opportunity to sit down with the director of an unusual and fast-growing education program where students spend the semester learning about a famous city or museum or country, and at the end of the semester, the whole class goes there. There are no tests for students, no homework either.
This is the best part. We are not going for degrees here, and we're not going for certifications here. We are learning for the joy of it, just because we want to learn more and keep our minds engaged. So no midterms, no tests, no homework, no grades, none of that. It's just, you're just coming to class because you want to engage and have discussions and have your mind stimulated.
That story is coming up shortly. But first, a look at what people are talking about in education this week. A number of school districts are becoming rather concerned because a growing number of California school superintendents are stepping down from their roles. According to data gathered by a research lab at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, which focuses on school superintendents, the departure rate is growing. In the 2019-2020 school year, there was a 12% increase in superintendents leaving their positions. The following year, a 20% increase in departures, and just last year, 18% more chose to exit. Among the reasons cited by superintendents for leaving their roles were challenges related to pandemic mandates, negotiations with district unions, and the imperative task of ensuring there were enough computers and connectivity for students and staff to facilitate virtual learning. Also cited was the pandemic-triggered parental frustration that was fueled by concerns about their children not physically attending school. As we all remember, contentious debates emerged on topics such as the teaching of critical race theory and LGBTQ issues, turning those into political issues and wrapping superintendents right in the middle. To combat the problem, the first line of defense in many of these school districts is to go back to elevating those from within their own educational communities to assure that they have a clear understanding of the makeup, the culture, the hot spots, and the educational aspirations of that community. In this region, those turnovers have occurred in the Norco Corona, San Bernardino, Moreno Valley, Fontana, and Riverside Unified School Districts. Parents in the city of Fontana are demanding that their school district create a gender notification policy. What they're looking for is something similar to what parents at Chino Valley schools have been asking for. A gender notification policy typically requests that parents be informed or notified when certain discussions or activities related to gender issues, gender identity, or gender-related education take place within the school. The specifics of such a policy can vary, but it often involves informing parents about topics like gender dysphoria, LGBTQ plus issues, or discussions on gender identity. The goal in a policy such as this is generally to allow them to be aware of and potentially involved in their child's education on those subjects. Several organizations gathered with parents at a parental rights rally in Fontana just weeks ago. According to KTTV television, there were over 1,200 attendees, many claiming that the Fontana School Board had repeatedly denied requests for a parental notification policy, and that teachers there had disclosed that the school conducts training sessions on how to handle conversations with students experiencing gender dysphoria. In the Chino Valley Schools case, a state judge in San Bernardino County recently ruled that a school district cannot require teachers to notify parents when a student identifies as transgender at school, saying that the policy discriminates against youths based on their gender identity. As of yet, Montana Unified School District has made no comments on the matter. You hear it all the time when speaking with someone who's approaching the end of high school or college. I can't wait to get out of here. But as many of us now know, the truth is, you're going to miss this. Bernard Osher, the founder of the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, knew that. In 2001, he and his foundation launched a new kind of education program, nicknamed Olli, where instructors are former Broadway producers, retired-level U.S. military leaders, newspaper publishers, renowned artists, scientists, and historians, and where freshman students are in their early 50s. Seniors are, as you'd guess it, senior citizens. This week, I was invited to visit one of Southern California's many Olli programs. This one at the Palm Desert campus of Cal State San Bernardino. Director Angela Allen described her work and that of Olli. Angela, welcome to Education Insight.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here.
First off, how would you describe the Osher Lifelong Learning Center?
So the Olli program, or the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, is a part of a network of over 125 different learning institutes across the country, founded by the Bernard Osher Foundation. So each one is unique to its university. They're all attached to a separate university across the country. In California alone, there's 25 of them attached to different university and campuses in this state. So that is a place for people who are age 50 plus to discover or rediscover that they loved, or they maybe didn't have a chance to really explore when they were more of a traditional college age student.
Yeah. Angela, it's no secret that education is an important part of physical health for those after they turn 50. There's so many stories and so many research articles coming out about that. Could you comment to that?
I totally can. We're focused a lot of what we do, and a lot of the opportunity that's here on the campus is for people who are over 50 to connect with each other socially and to have stimulating classes, challenging classes. Many people who are older are socially isolated or experiencing depression because they are not interacting with other people, especially after the COVID.
Yeah.
People stayed home and they did not go to things that they used to be engaged with. So what's happened is there was big uptick in depression, social isolation. People started turning to substances abuse, which don't really talk about now because it's kind of uncomfortable to say, okay, well, now I'm home all by myself, alone, and I'm sad, so what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Right? So people started to maybe take up things that they had. And then they maybe lost a partner, a loved one, or their friendship group, or all those kind of things. So people stopped going out, right? Because we were told to stay home and isolate. And all of those things led to both mental health issues as well as physical health decline in seniors. And so what's the antidote for that? Of course, I like to say it's the Olli program, where people come out, re-engage socially with other people face-to-face, and also are mentally challenged to relearn things that they maybe didn't learn when they were younger or would like to explore, or things like if they wanted to learn how to paint or do Tai Chi, or maybe engage in conversations regarding current events, all those kind of things.
How many students do you have in your program here in Palm Desert?
Well, right now, we are just seeing a resurgence of people coming back to the desert since we're such a seasonal community. So we have about 350 members right now. By the end of this session, the end of the winter term, we'll probably have close to 500. At our high point, we had nearly 1,000 members right before COVID,
wow.
which is tremendous, right? We were very excited about that. And, hopefully we'll get there again someday.
So how is this program supported on all of these campuses? Is there tuition that your students have to pay?
Yes. Each Olli program has a separate way of funding themselves. We're all self-funded. The university here does not fund us. We have to raise our own money. So this is amazing. Each of the 125 different Olli programs receives a grant or an endowment for the university for $1 million. Just think of that. Bernard Osher gave each of those 125 different universities $1 million endowment to help fund their program on there. Of course, we don't get all that, $1 million. We get a part of it every year as a disbursement. Also, our program is paid for by tuition or an annual membership fee, and also a la carte. So if you want to take a class, it depends on the length of the class, how much that would be. And they range from $10 to $50 for a longer series of classes.
Yeah. You mentioned Bernard Osher.
Yes.
So how long ago was that he started this program?
So the program started nationally in 2001, and it's been growing ever since, and now we're up to 125. And here at CSUSB, it started here on this campus under the Department of Continuing Education with the goal of purposeful aging. I love that. I love that term, purposeful aging. So it's been around for a little while.
Yeah. It's very popular here in this region.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. Well, of the 125 different institutes across the country, 25 alone are here in California.
Wow.
That tells you that we have a very active and vibrant 50-plus community in our state.
There is more of our conversation with Angela Allen of the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute in just a moment. This is Education Insight. This is Education Insight. Today, talking about the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, Olli for short, where the classes and instructors are in a class of their own. Director Angela Allen continues. So when students become involved or they're questioning, they stop by, I heard you say they stop by and start asking questions.
Yes.
Pretty soon they become a part of the program. What are they hoping to gain, or are they looking for when they initially enroll for the first time?
Great question. So what they're looking for is a vibrant and engaged community of people of like age. So social engagement, interesting classes that are challenging, thought-provoking in different ways, and also education and group travel. So we offer all those different things.
So what kinds of courses might someone find if they were to enroll in the next semester?
Right. So we have different things. We have arts. So it might be something like such as music or painting or learning about arts in, the history of different eras of art. So those kind of things. Arts, science. We have a class coming up on the pharmacology of cannabis or marijuana taught by a pharmacist or a former instructor and chemistry instructor. So that would be kind of interesting. Current events, culture. We did a fabulous class on the culture of Korea, where the instructor brought in a tea master and explained that and the different foods and the different houses were like. And that was so wonderful. Films, international documentaries. Film is probably one of our most popular classes, different kinds of films. So those are important. History is always one of the number one interests for Olli's nationally. It always ranks at the top. People love to learn about history, and cultures, different religions around the world, different philosophies, all kinds of different things,
You've had some very interesting professors on this campus as well. Tell me about that.
So all of our instructors either come from their former faculty or university instructors. But I think the most interesting people that we have that come to be instructors on our campus are people from different professions who come out of a professional field or people that have had a special interest. Maybe that wasn't their profession, but it was a special interest of theirs that they just pursued on their own because they had a passion for it. Maybe it wasn't their career, but they've had a lifelong interest in something. And they're so full of knowledge and passion for this area, they can't help but want to share it with people. And so those are very exciting classes to take because it's somebody that just loves their subject so much.
Yeah. These courses, do they have midterms or final exams?
Oh, well, this is the best part of the whole Olli program is we are not going for degrees here. And we're not going for certifications here. We are learning for the joy of it, just because we want to learn more and keep our minds engaged. So no midterms, no tests, no homework, no grades, none of that. It's just you're just coming to class because you want to engage and have discussions and have your mind stimulated.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about that travel
Yeah.
that you mentioned just a few moments ago. I know for a fact that in some of these classes, you can come here and learn for a semester about something like Washington, D.C.
Yes.
And then at the end of the semester, everybody in the class goes to Washington,
Isn't that
D.C.
fun? I know.
Tell me
it's
about
so
some of those.
fun. So recently we had, Palm Springs area is well known for its mid-century architecture. So we had a series of 3 classes on the different architects and the development of the history of mid-century architecture. And then we took a bus tour and we went and visited the sites and got to get out and take pictures and engage in all of that. That was really a lot of fun. We also had a trip to Chicago in May of last year where we had studied, again, about the architecture. And Chicago's got some very unique periods of architecture all in one place. It's just so remarkable. And then let's say you have a class on different wines. What makes a wine region special? Right? What is it about the soil and the geography and the temperatures that make a particular wine taste like it does? Right? Make it special, make it unique. And then you go and visit that area and you get to try all the different courses. That's a very popular course, trying the different wineries. So yeah, we have those different kinds of things. And as you said, we did a couple of years ago go to Washington, D.C. We actually took some students from CSUSB with us.
Wow.
And that was very special.
Some undergrad students.
Yes, yeah.
Wow. And what was that like? So how does a trip like that play out?
Well, again, we have classes are offered, and you can do that. And then we work with travel partners to arrange the trip. And so, of course, when you travel as a group, that's a great way to travel,
with a lot of people.
When you don't have to worry about making all the different travel arrangements, and then you get a better price as well. So we love to that. We have a very vibrant, regrowing travel program with day trips, short overnight, stays, and then some international travel. So we have so many different kinds of things.
What kind of international travel are you hoping to take your classes on in the future?
Well, we had planned to go to Cuba next month, but that had to be canceled. So that was going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
But we do have trips. We have cruises, trips. We have all kinds of different things to Europe, to Asia. It just depends on where people are interested in going. So, yeah.
Angela, how did you get into this?
Oh my gosh, what a
what
story!
Brings somebody to this kind of career?
I call it this year dream job because I had working for a nonprofit here in the desert that had been taking care of. It was a private child welfare agency caring for children in the child welfare system, foster kids and stuff like that. And I loved that job. I was very happy. I thought I was going to retire there. But somebody from the university advancement team called me and asked if I would be interested in this job. And I said, well, I don't even really know anything about it. And I'm retirement age. I'm past retirement age now, traditionally. And they said, well, it's for people 50 plus, and there's travel, and there's classes, and and they're describing this program to me, and I'm thinking, I'm retirement age. If I was actually going to retire, what would I do? Well, I would like to travel. I'd like to take classes. I said, and they pay me for this? This is a job, really? So I said, yes, let's see where it goes. So I feel very blessed to have this job, and it is like a dream job for somebody who's of retirement age.
Yeah. There's something that I know from having done some research about the Olli program is that your instructors have done many podcasts.
Yes.
Where they interview each other. And I think some of the things that have come out of those podcasts have been phenomenally interesting. Could you tell us a little bit about that or explain it to our audience that isn't aware?
Well, we have so many interesting people who are part of this program and have been in the past. So if you're interested in downloading or listening to some of the podcasts, they are available on our website. So I would encourage people to do that. A couple of them that come to mind are twins. We have 2 twins interviewing 2 other twins about what their experience was like of being twins. And I don't know that I've ever heard of anything like that, but I thought that was kind of fun. And I know one of our members interviewed the president of the university. And I was like, well, how's this going to go?
Yeah.
And the first thing he asked him, he said, well, so you're the first university president that I ever heard of that has a baseball stadium named after him. How did that happen?
Yeah.
So that was President Morales,
Yes.
and one of our members was interviewing him, and I just
CSUSB.
thought, what? How does a university president have I want to hear this story, right? I want to know. How did that happen? How did he get a baseball stadium named after him? So I thought, wow, that's going to be fun. So it was an interesting interview, and I know, yeah.
One of the ones that I heard was a gentleman, his history was working behind the scenes on Broadway. And he interviewed a gentleman who was at the top of military leadership during the Vietnam conflict. And that was phenomenal. So many good stories.
So many great stories, yeah.
In that. So, Angela, what is the most interesting thing to you that has happened in the Olli program that you oversee here in Palm Desert, California?
Well, I think two things come to mind. One is the use of technology. When COVID happened, all of our classes previously used to be here on campus, right? So we had thousands of members as classes coming here on campus all the time. When COVID happened and the campus was shut down, we had to pivot quickly to Zoom classes.
Right.
Now, some people don't like that. A lot of people don't want it, are not comfortable with that technology. However, to me, there's an advantage. So I think the use of having instructors, and now I have instructors from Australia, from Canada, from Venezuela, all over the country now. All Ollies across the country can connect with each other and share amazing instructors. So the use of technology is a great thing to me because it offers a different mode of education and engagement, insights to all kinds of different things. So, we have classes with the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C., which was fascinating. And they'd have their staff come on and talk about different exhibits that they had going on and share different things, which would not have been possible because we're not all going to the Smithsonian, right, to go see an exhibit. So that's a wonderful use of technology. And now we have hybrid classes, meaning if you want to engage and maybe you're ill or your partner's sick or you're traveling or something and you can't come to class, you can still attend the class via Zoom, or you can come to campus if that's your preference. So offering people different kinds of learning modalities, to me, is a wonderful and interesting thing. And then the other thing that we added is the intergenerational programming here on campus. It's been my goal and my desire to engage the Olli members with the CSUSB undergraduate students.
Oh, what's that been like?
It's been great. This last fall, we had a wonderful program called Sages and Seekers. Our Olli members are sages, and the CSUSB students are seekers. They met for a series of one-on-one personal discussions about whatever they chose to talk about. We would give them a suggestion. I want you to talk, here's a question. And they could talk about it or not. And we had 16 Olli members and 16 students. They were communication studies students. And everybody was surprised. Mm-hmm. Everyone was surprised. The CSUSB students did not know what to expect. They didn't know how they were going to connect with these old people, right?
Yeah.
But walls were broken down. Friendships were formed. These people, these young, and it's up to them if they continue after the class was over, whether or not they want to continue having, meeting. And some of them do. They have coffee, or they just, I'm available via phone if you ever want to talk or you want to get together. And many of them have chosen to do that because they've created a friendship.
That's good for both of them.
Both sides. Yes, so valuable. And the students were excited. It broke preconceived ideas and boundaries that people had established in their mind. Like, these young people are not going to be interested in anything I have to say, and vice versa. What do we have to talk about? What do we have in common? And they have so much in common. Yeah. And by the way, the interesting thing was both young people and seniors both suffer from isolation. And you would not know that. You would think, young people, no, because they're so focused on their media, right? They're so focused on communicating via cell phone or text messages or their Instagrams and all of that. And they don't have one-on-one conversations across the table from each other in the same space. So they were suffering from isolation and they didn't even really know it or understand it. And so what a breakthrough class that was. Yeah.
So valuable right now.
So valuable right now.
You mentioned all of the many campuses
Right.
all over the U.S. that are offering Osher programs such as this. Could you identify for our listeners who might not be right in this particular area where some of the others are in Southern California?
Sure. Well, we have our neighbor at UCR, which is UC Riverside. They have an Olli program. UCLA has an Olli program. UC San Diego has an Olli program. Long Beach, Irvine, and Channel Islands all have vibrant Osher Lifelong Learning Institutes at their universities.
That's great. Our guest, Angela Allen, the director of the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, sometimes known as Olli. Hers, in particular, located on the Palm Desert campus of Cal State San Bernardino. Angela, thank you for joining us on Education Insight today.
This has been so much fun. Thank you so much.
If you'd like to learn more about this or other Olli programs in Southern California, go to osherfoundation.org or www.csusb.edu/Olli. Education Insight is a weekly program now, so be sure and tell your friends to join us here next week when we'll be talking about the week in local education and the surge in California college grant applications for the millions of dollars in free money. After ages of complicated forms, a simpler path to cash, and a complicated launch. All of that and more on Education Insight. I'm Lacey Kendall. Have a great week.
Education Insight is produced in partnership with KVCR San Bernardino.
Our executive producer is Jacob Poor, and our production engineer is Tyler Veazey.
Alyssa Silva is our production assistant, and Lacey Kendall is your host.
Support is provided by Growing Inland Achievement, working together for inland education and economic success.
And by College Futures Foundation.
Do you have questions or suggestions for the future topics we should be covering?
Write to us at educationinsight.org.
Join us again next time for
Education Insight.